Hey, this is Marc, Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women, your personal trainer for love. Thanks for joining me here on the Love You podcast, where I help women make better decisions with men, raise their standards, set healthy boundaries, and create lasting relationships with quality men. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the one question you should ask when dating. And this is going to be a shorter episode because it's just a hard-hitting punchline. I'll get to that in a second. Before we do that, a little bit of housekeeping that we do at the top of the call. Number one, really excited at the reaction that the recent podcasts have been getting, the recent videos have been getting. Just talking to more of you on the phone, getting to know you better, signing people up for coaching packages that are more affordable has been just one of the biggest thrills I've had in years. So keep it up. If you enjoy this and you really need help, you don't want to just listen to advice, you want to start living the advice, you could reach out to me. Other thing is that I am just really energized by the new direction that I'm going, and the new direction I hope you're going. I think that there's a lot of parallels in life. I think a lot of people are feeling the same feelings right now. The sense of loneliness, a sense of disconnect, loss of purpose, a loss of structure. And I believe this has a lot to do with the digital world in which we live. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not saying we should go back to the 1970s or something like that. But I do think that being on subscribing to too many channels, too many Instagrams, too many Substacks, too many newsletters, eventually your brain gets filled with information and it's entertainment. It's like empty calories. What we need to do is figure out what's the action step, right? Not are you learning, what are you doing in your love life that is different, that's producing a different result? And so it is my pleasure to help you get those results. The more I share this, the more people come to me and be like, oh, by the way, Evan, I got married last year. I forgot to tell you. So old clients, who see me around on social media and stuff like that. So it's been really, really gratifying. If you want to have that relationship, you know where to find me. Or maybe if you don't know where to find me, you can go to evanmarckatz.com/now. That's where you find me. So here's today's story. I got a client named Diana. Diana is really astute, right? She's someone who kind of picks up on things quick. So it's been really easy to coach her into success, even though she doesn't have an extensive dating history. She's been very easy to coach into success. And what I mean by success is not that she's met the love of her life in a few months of working together, but that she's actually taken great action instead of staying stuck and afraid of dating, online dating, rejection, men, sex. She has embraced our process. She gets herself a new date or two every week. She's had a boyfriend, dumped a boyfriend. She's super. And so she was seeing a guy, and the guy was doing everything right. It sounds like a story I told a couple weeks ago. Guy's got a good job. Guy went to a good college. He's in shape for a middle-aged man, which is no small thing. He spoke fondly of his ex-wife and kids. So this is just a normal guy. But he's a good normal guy. We could objectively say this guy is going to be a perfectly fine partner to someone in the world. The problem, and the reason I tell this story, is my client, Diana, wasn't feeling it. Right? And this happens a lot. This happens to you. It happens to my clients on our coaching calls, is I'm seeing this guy, but I just don't feel it. And then you start to feel bad, and you start to think you're doing something wrong, and you realize that there's so many guys out there who aren't good guys that maybe you should give this guy a shot. And you know that historically you haven't exactly trusted your own judgment because, well, most of your relationship choices didn't work out. That's how you ended up single. And so we start to spin, and we start to spend time with someone where you're not really feeling it, under the guise of, he's a good guy, he's a good catch, he has a good job, he has everything on paper, and you've fallen for the chemistry before, right? And the newness and the excitement, that hasn't led you in the right direction. It's it's a pretty dire scene very often out there, so you don't want to let a decent lead go. So these are all the reasons that women talk themselves into dating guys that they don't actually want to be with, right? And then you listen to a whole bunch of dating coaches and you hear a flattened version of what we say, right? Not the full nuanced version, but the flattened version is something like give him a shot, right? And that is not actually what we're saying, right? That's what you're hearing, but it's not what we're saying. You need to have a connection to give a guy a shot. You shouldn't just give a shot to a guy because he's nice. You shouldn't just give a shot to a guy because he's relationship oriented. You could have a completely unhappy relationship by giving someone a shot. Truth is, you shouldn't have to talk yourself into anything. So when you hear folks like me say, be open to possibilities, yes, be open to possibilities like trying a new food. But if you don't like the food, you don't keep eating the food. Right? Yes, try new food, try different things, try short guys, try blue collar guys, try guys who don't have master's degrees, try guys who make less money than you, right? Try guys of different body types, different hair, no hair. There are actual options that you could try differently, but at no point in time would I tell you to go out with someone that you didn't actually want to go out with. And so after 4 months of working with Diana, she'd internalized this message. She really became the CEO of her love life. She was getting good. And so she shared something with me that I was like, I gotta write this down. And I wanted to share with you, and I want to encourage you to write this down as well, because it was so simple. It was like the kind of things that we do in Love You, these little catchphrases. This was so perfect. She said, the title of today's episode, the one question she had to ask herself about the guy she was seeing wasn't, should I like him, but do I like him? Man, how simple is that? So many women get caught up in, should I like him? Right? On paper, he's great. Other people would like him. I could present him to someone. Right? And because of your fears and because of your scarcity, you hold on and try to convince yourself that you're doing the right thing. And you're not. Right? So don't ever worry about whether you should like him. No one's making you do anything. Do I like him? Do I want to see him again? Not do my panties fall off at the mere thought of him? Not is my heart beating a million miles a minute when I think of him? That's not the level of excitement that we need. But we do need to very compellingly say, that was a great date. I want to go on another date. That was my relationship with my wife. I was not like head over heels. Oh my God, you're my soulmate. You're the one. I've never been more attracted to someone. I didn't have any of those crazy off the wall feelings. I just knew every time I saw her, I wanted to see her again. I didn't have to spend too much time thinking about it or talking myself into it. That's why I trust my judgment on that. Right? If you don't trust your judgment, this is what I'm for, to help you learn to trust that your feelings don't lie, that you don't have to talk yourself into having a connection with someone, and that there's perfectly good guys that it's okay if you just don't like them. But don't worry about whether you should. It does not matter whether you should like them in an alternate universe. Do you like him enough to see him again? Do you like him enough to kiss him, to sleep with him, to take down your profile for him? This should not be something you talk yourself into. So I talk often about the 5 C's built into Love You: public knowledge, character, kindness, consistency, communication, commitment. Right? Because I've been saying that for so long, it rolls off my tongue, but I really think that there is a 6th C, and the 6th C is connection. I see far too many good women stay in mediocre relationships. Not that a man has to be inspiring. He doesn't have to be a captain of industry. He doesn't have to be a great public speaker or a self-made millionaire. Right? It really does not, even though I know why that's attractive. Right? But a mediocre relationship is one where you're not really that happy in it. That's what I mean. Right? Just based on the idea that you should like him, and this is the best you can do, instead of do you actually like him. If he's your person, we've talked about it before, guy should be your best friend. He should be one of your favorite people in the world, if not your favorite person in the world. Right? So with a boyfriend, you don't tolerate him. You like him. You're attracted to him. You look forward to seeing him. You never have to talk yourself into it. So, simple. Write it down. Not should I like him, do I like him? My name is Evan Marc Katz. This is the Love You Podcast. I thank you so much for listening. If you are watching on YouTube, click on the subscribe button. If you're listening to my podcast on Spotify or Apple, please subscribe or leave us a positive review. Share this episode with your friend because it's short and it's simple and it could help her out. And if indeed you are sick of talking yourself into mediocre relationships with mediocre men where you're not happy, please go to evanmarckatz.com/now. Book a time to talk with me, just an hour. We'll figure out how I can support you and where we go from here. I thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you next week.